Good evening, councillors, council officers and members of the public. Welcome to tonight's ordinary meeting of the Hillshire Council on the 24th of February 2026. This public meeting is required to be live streamed on Council's website, and a person's image and or voice may be broadcast. This is outlined in Council's adopted code of meeting practice available on Council's website. Attendance at this meeting is to be taken as consent by a person to their image and or voice being live streamed. If any person attending this meeting, including members of the public, do not agree to being live streamed, you can choose to leave the meeting before the meeting starts. Council accepts no liability for any damage that may result from defamatory comments made by persons attending meetings. All liability will rest with the individual who made the comments. The recording will be published and made available on Council's website for the balance of the Council's term or 12 months, whichever is the longest period. In addition, the recording will be retained as a council record. Members of the public are afforded the privilege of attending this meeting to witness the council making its decisions. Individuals acting in a disorderly manner can be asked to leave the meeting. Members of the public must remain silent, must not bring flags, signs or protest material, and must not disrupt the meeting. As we get underway, can everyone please place your mobile phones on silent? A person must not live stream or use an audio recorder, video camera, mobile phone or any other device to make a recording or photograph these proceedings unless you have prior authorisation of the council. Can I begin this meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians on the land on which we meet today? And I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. As I am accustomed to doing so, I'd also like to acknowledge our veterans and all those who have and who are currently serving our great nation. Tonight's prayer will be given by Reverend Hayden Smith from Emmanuel Anglican Church in Glenhaven.
Thank you, Dr. Byrne, for the invitation to come and share briefly and to lead us in prayer. I grew up in the UK, and so I've had a very difficult summer of watching cricket, but wonderful at the end to see Mitchell Starc and Alyssa Healy picking up litter. I'm not really sure if you saw that at the SCG after everyone had gone home. A wonderful example of servant leadership. The Bible in the book of Proverbs 29 verse 2 says this: "Show me a righteous ruler, and I will show you a happy people. Show me a wicked ruler, and I will show you a miserable people." It is a great blessing to have a stable government, and we do pray for you and your important work at our church, and Councillor Blue can attest that we do pray for you. So thank you for your service. I'll lead us in prayer.
Thank you.
God of all nations, the Bible teaches us that you placed each person according to your perfect plan, from the original custodians of this area through to those whom you have brought from every nation to share this land. What a blessing it is to call the hills our home. Help each resident, those from every faith and none, to treat others like true neighbours, extending friendship and sharing our strengths for the common good. And we pray, grant to each council member wisdom, integrity, humility and a spirit of service to others. We are grateful for stable leadership, that our council supports and strengthens the social fabric of our Hillshire. Bless each person elected or employed in service of our community. Provide for and protect their families. And following the example of Christ Jesus, the servant King, may they help others, and as they do so, may we honour them for their work. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for your company at dinner. It's been a delight to have you this evening. We've enjoyed it, really have, and it's been great to have you here for the very first time. And I'd like to thank you for your service to our community as well, and to your church as well. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
We look forward to seeing you again soon. We move to item 1, confirmation of the minutes, ordinary meeting of council, 10th of February 2026. Councillor Bonnen, moving the minutes. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Blue, is there any debate? No debate, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Those against, those minutes carried. Thank you, councillors. We move to apologies. Councillor Jaddy.
I request leave of absence to be granted to Councillor De Messi, Deputy Mayor, and also to Councillor Alan Haselden, please.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Uno. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Thank you. Apologies are accepted, and leave of absence is now granted to Councillor Haselden and Councillor De Messi. Councillors, are there any declarations of interest this evening?
I would like to declare a conflict of interest with item 17. It's a pecuniary interest, and I will be leaving the room. Do you need an explanation, Madam Mayor? If so, that's why I would say it's that I have a referral arrangement with the developer Landon.
Thank you, Councillor Uno. Any other declarations, councillors? Councillor Blue.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to declare a significant non-pecuniary interest in item number 5, as I own a property within the area of the LTF recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Blue. Any other declarations? No other declarations. We move to mayoral minutes. Mayoral minute number 4/2026, acknowledging Michael Edgar's 40 years in local government.
That's not on the one sheet, Madam Mayor.
No, it's not on the one sheet. Councillors, I'd like to acknowledge a significant milestone for our General Manager, Mr Michael Edgar, who today celebrates 40 years in local government. This mayoral minute, which will come as a surprise to Michael, as we kept it a secret for him, is to acknowledge his local government career so far, a career that has taken him to the heights of local government, as predicted by many of his colleagues and superiors when he first started as a trainee. In 1985, Michael was finishing Year 12 at Colo High School. A family friend was a trainee in building surveying at Blacktown City Council and suggested he investigate it as a career option. This must have struck a chord with Michael, because on the 24th of February 1986, he started as a trainee environmental health survey at Blacktown City Council. At the same time, Michael also studied a Bachelor of Applied Science, Environmental Health at the University of Western Sydney. The traineeship was described as intense, but even back then, Michael was held in high regard. He was described as an old head on a young body and was known for his strong character and self-belief. Once he completed his traineeship, Michael was appointed a graduate health and building surveyor, a position he held for the next 9 years. From there, Michael moved to Blue Mountain City Council as an environmental health and building surveyor. Blue Mountain City Council gave Michael his first leadership experience. He was promoted to senior and then principal surveyor, and later to branch manager of environmental health and regulatory compliance. In this position, he was responsible for 18 staff and managed environmental and public health standards, public place enforcement, and unauthorised land use, development and building. In 2004, he was promoted to the acting group manager of environmental and customer services. In this role, he managed 83 staff, and one of his key projects was implementing the draft LEP 2002 in land use management. In 2005, Michael began his time at the Hillshire Council as Group Manager of Environment and Planning. Some of the big picture tasks Michael had in his role included planning for Rouse Hill Regional Centre, working with the North West Growth Centres Commission to deliver the North Kellyville Precinct, and preparing the Shire-wide Development Control Plan and the Carlingford Precinct Plan. In 2008, he moved to the Group Manager of Strategic Planning role, a position he held for 9 years. He worked on the planning of the growth centres with the New South Wales Government, implemented the LEP, led the creation of Council's rural cluster zoning to allow for suitable housing choice in rural lands, and successfully advocated for it with the Department of Planning. He was also involved in the development of Council's first Community Strategic Plan, Hills 2026, and in developing the vision for Hills 2050. In 2017, Michael was appointed General Manager of the Hillshire Council. It was also a significant year for me, as I was re-elected for my 4th term as Mayor and for the very first time as the inaugural popularly elected Mayor of the Hills. At the time, I was extremely grateful for his guidance as I navigated my return as Mayor, and I still am to this day. Michael is a walking vault of knowledge, and you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who knows the ins and outs of local government as he does. Michael has served through 3 local government elections on this council and has diligently mentored new councillors throughout the process. Michael has been at the helm of this council during the most transformative period in its history. The Hillshire Council didn't choose to be one of the fastest growing local government areas in the country. That decision was imposed on us by successive state and federal governments. However, Michael has helped us to be the best in the business when it comes to managing that growth, rolling out a record pipeline of infrastructure, all while maintaining strong finances and ensuring the Hills remains one of the most desirable places to raise a family in Australia. Michael has been instrumental in the fight for family-sized apartments in our local government area convincing the previous New South Wales government to force developers to supply more 3 and 4 bedroom apartments in our shire. He's also been a driving force in the fight for a Fairy Hills future, a fight we haven't won yet, but one we continue to battle through. Michael is highly respected in the industry and by former colleagues and elected representatives. In the attachments, you'll see citations about Michael from MPs, former councillors, colleagues and friends from all stages of career. You'll see words like good bloke, exceptional leader, strong character and measured judgment used to describe him. Even those who knew him as a trainee at Blacktown City Council in 1986 knew he stood out and weren't surprised to see him end up as a GM. Amongst staff, colleagues and comrades, Michael is known for his affable nature, his enthusiasm and for creating a culture that makes people proud to work for the Hills Shire Council every single day. This is reflected in our falling staff turnover rate, which currently sits at 11.4%, well below the New South Wales local government average of 18%. Michael, your 40 years in local government can be likened to your beloved Dick Johnson racing team, enduring, successful and a little bit old school. Over the past 4 decades, you have dedicated yourself to serving communities across Greater Sydney. The Hills Shire is incredibly lucky to have you for more than half your career. The strong financial position this council is in is a credit to your stewardship of the more than 700 staff you lead. The position of General Manager is not an easy one, but you have steered the ship with genuine care and determination. Even when, to use an Edgarism, something is going down like a fish milkshake. Michael, on behalf of myself, the Deputy Mayor, councillors and council staff, congratulations on 40 years of local government service and thanks for keeping the dream alive. Councillors, anyone wish to speak? Councillor Blue.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and what a lengthy period of time in one industry, and so much you've achieved, Michael. Just a couple of things I'd like to say on my time here as a councillor and the way that you have interacted with myself and many other councillors. When I first came to this council in late 2021, I didn't really know a lot about council. I didn't really know how the organisation worked, the extent of the organisation, but you took more than enough time to sit down with me and go through exactly what it was that my role entailed. And I think that early guidance has really made me, put me in a much better position to be a councillor. Councillors, at many events that we as councillors attend, I can't think of one where another council or councillor would come up to me and say, "Oh, where are you from?" And I say the Hills, and they go, "Oh, Michael Edgar. Michael Edgar, gee, we wish we had him as our GM." And I think that's just a testament, Michael, to the type of character you are, the type of leader that you provide to this organisation, and the person that we all should aspire to be. So congratulations on 40 years. It's an outstanding milestone in the industry and the industry as a whole, and the Hills Shire are in a much better place because of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Uno.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Really, that Mirror Minute, I would like to commend you on that Mirror Minute. It felt as though it's a bit of an episode of This Is Your Life. And that's what it did for me. It felt like I was just waiting for all the voices of all of the previous mayors to be spoken. But it's I want to just reiterate the words of Councillor Blue. Michael has been a tremendous. He's been the North Star for this Shire, Madam Mayor. He's kept us on our true north, ensure that we've always lived by the values of the Hills Shire, Madam Mayor. It's his frankness when we've come through and discussed difficult issues at times, Madam Mayor, but also when we've got councillors running around every which way. Michael's been always the calm head I know he's talked me off certain tangents at times as well, which has been a tremendous help. And even though I may not have seen it at the moment, I've always appreciated his wise words in the long run. Madam Mayor, this is, I know it's 40 years, and 40 years can feel like a flash in the pan. But I think that the Hills Shire is all the more lucky to have Michael Edgar as our GM and that tremendous amount of experience. And I think the testament comes from the staff that sit behind me and the tenure that they have for this Shire and for this council, and even some of his direct reports that have gone to what has seemed to be greener pastures and only to come back, is a testament to how Michael has managed this council, and will leave it in a much better place than when he joined all those years ago. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Uno. Councillor Jackson.
Madam Mayor, I really appreciate the mayoral minute that you've put up, and I know a part in here where it says he's an older head on a young body back when he was described in 1986. I look at the 40 years in government, and I can probably say you're now an old head on an old body. So it's finally caught up. Well, you don't do 40 years in local government and think to be able to come out fresh. I think is reasonable to say. As I'm looking through this, and from the comments of other councillors, Councillor Blue reflected on a story that when other councillors come up to us and talk about the Hills, I'm talking about wanting Michael as their general manager as well. And I would say in the same breath, there's a general expression of jealousy of how our council has turned out. The not just fiscal responsibility and focus that the council has had, and the appropriate and reasonable and measured decisions that have gone into putting us in the position that we are, to see it reflected in so many other councillors as well. It gives me a significant amount of hope that not just us being in a great position, but through all the experience described here, and even described by Ray Williams MP, talking about you being a visionary planner, and that it wouldn't be possible without the guidance and delivery of Michael Edgar, specifically calling out yourself. We have been through challenging times, as described by many here, and including in your history, and I think that we're going through some further challenging times, and I very much appreciate you being here to lead the council. Talk about 700 staff, it's no small feat. Guiding people within this organisation, and also, as Ray Williams indicated, not just leading but also being a mentor to many, and Councillor Uno has talked about others that have gone on to greener pastures. I have been a recipient of that mentorship, and like Councillor Uno, have been talked off the ledge on certain passionate ideas that I've had, and have appreciated all the things that you've described in here, Madam Mayor. And I honestly believe that this sums Michael up perfectly. Good bloke, exceptional leader, strong character, and measured judgment. And I'm proud to have you, Michael, as our General Manager at the Hills. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Any further speakers? Councillor Severaj.
In today's environment, when people feel the necessity to move every few years, 40 years is indeed remarkable and a milestone, and I believe the Hillshire Council is all the better for it. As a new councillor, of course, I call Michael quite frequently, and I've always been amazed and have found that his 4 decades in local government has made him a very wise man. Over the last weekend, I was actually with some party members and talking to them about local council matters, and when I mentioned that Michael Edgar is the CEO, they said, "Oh, you're very lucky to have him." That was in the Hawkesbury, right? So, Michael, here's to another 2 decades at least with the Hillshire. And as Michael would say, here's to many more Knaps together.
Thank you, Councillor Severaj. Any further speakers? Councillor Joddy, and then Councillor Bonham.
Fitting in a very well-deserved mayoral minute for our favourite general manager, Michael Edgar. And I must say, you must have worked really hard to keep it a secret from him, because he is a man of stories. He is a bundle of so much information. I can vouch on it. I mean, like, there are so many places that I would have visited in last couple of years since my 3 terms at the council. But every time I'll call him from some place, he will have a story and a historical thing attached to it. And one classic one was when I was in Blue Mountains at the Carrington. And I said, oh, Michael, there is this particular place I am at, and I did not say the name. And I said, there's a particular place I am at, and from the window I can see a particular wall. And I wonder why this wall would have been in place. And Michael straight away said, are you here? And this particular wall has this story. And that was an amazing story, because that wall was constructed to secure the community and look after them from the disasters that used to take place in that particular place. Going back to the stories, I have always suggested that you should write a book. And he said I would have to seal it with a lot of legal aspirations if I have to write one. But Michael, I love your enthusiasm with the new councillors, one of them being me, because you do not take any question as a silly question. How much ever inexperienced and childish or probably foolish it might be, because you always take it in a right stride. And when things are looking very grim, and I like your phrase when you say everything will work out and will be okay in the end, and if it is not, then it is not the end as yet. So thank you, Michael. Many more years to come, and congratulations to you, your family, and a lot of hard work and sacrifice that has gone into these 40 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bonham.
Lovely mayoral minute, and through you I'd like to congratulate Michael on these 40 wonderful years. I've only spent a few of them with you, and since we first met I've just appreciated so much your willingness to entertain some of my silly ideas, but also to inform me, to advise me, and you do it with such a lightness of touch. You obviously are very serious about what you do. You achieve a heck of a lot for this council. We are the envy of so many, for sure, for what we have in you as our general manager. But you do it with such a sense of humour and I guess just a lightness of touch. You know, you don't feel like that you're bearing down on people. You're always so kind and very professional. Councillor Severage talked about your longevity, but also that's reflected in the longevity of your staff. You know, they hang around because you do such an amazing job and you make everybody feel that this is their place. And I'd just like to congratulate you and hope you're here for many more years to come. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bonham. Councillor Casby.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I had no idea this mayoral minute was coming up, as Michael did. And look, I have to be honest, as the first Greens councillor elected to the Hills Shire Council last term, I didn't expect to get on well with the General Manager of the Hills Shire Council, but I do, and that's a credit to Michael. And although we don't agree always, I have had many thought-provoking, interesting and enjoyable conversations, and you're always approachable, dedicated, friendly, kind and genuinely caring. Despite our difference of opinions on some issues, I think we all obviously, we've heard, we all respect your guidance and navigation of some really challenging times, high pressure times. I don't know how you keep up your cheery, sunny disposition up sometimes and your sense of humour when the road is tough and rough. But I do, I think it was in the Merrill Minute, the saying about the fish milkshake, was it? Yeah, and I remember having a conversation about this before, but I think we're actually going to need a huge wall mural. Maybe we could use some of the arts grant to create a huge wall mural with your saying, because I don't think a coffee cup is going to be enough to have all of them on there. And look, I really respect that you don't have tickets on yourself, despite your achievements. You do take the world-class metro. You chat happily away to cab drivers or shuttle bus drivers when we're at conferences. So it's really, really great to see. I don't think you've talked me off a ledge per se, but there is still time for that. So congratulations and thank you. Well, there was a couple of mentions about ledges, and I'm not there yet. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Casby. Any further speakers? Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to start in the spirit of our previous farewell to Michael Spence to say that at least this time I was just born when you entered public service. Would have been about 4 months old, so a bit better than Spencey. Also, I guess I came to the Hills Shire Council in a slightly unique position than most, I think, and I know this will upset Councillor Jetty a bit, but I will mention that I had previously served on another council under another GM, and probably had more of an understanding of the role of a GM than most new councillors, and how a council works or can work. And the one I worked under is widely seen as a pretty good one, so definitely set a high bar, which I think you've passed. Notwithstanding that I was a bit concerned with your frequent use of the word comrade, but that's all been put to rest. Like Councillor Jetty, I often joke with my son, who I've got a son and 3 daughters, that he's my favourite son. When Councillor Jetty says you're her favourite GM, it's only one, but I can say it, and it actually might mean more. But in all seriousness, I think you've shown the real leadership that's needed for a lot of organisations in the way that you're doing it, and humbly, and as was referenced with being very approachable to anyone, whoever's driving the cab or anything like that. You definitely, I think, bring out the best in the staff and in the councillors, and I think that's why we have the staff retention that we do, because when that tone's set at the top, it flows down, and people know that if they're on the right side of an issue, that the organisation and the top of it will have their back regardless. And that's in part, I think, why the Hills is such a great place to live. It's a reflection of a well-led organisation at the local government level at the very least. I know that I'm a better councillor because of the mentorship and friendship I've received from Michael, and I think that anything we can do to entice another 2 decades, was it out of you, would be serving the community very well. I don't know what your family would have to say, but it'd be great for the community.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Any further speakers? Councillor Cartwright and then Councillor Gretzever.
Michael, 40 years is not just a number. It represents commitment, resilience, deep institutional knowledge, and a genuine investment in our council and community. Very few people dedicate 4 decades of their professional life in service and do so with consistency and integrity. As a first-time councillor, stepping into local government can feel overwhelming. There is so much to learn and so much history behind every decision. From the very beginning, Michael has been very helpful, approachable, and generous with his time. His door is always open, and he truly means it. Importantly, despite our differences and the fact that we don't always agree, I have always appreciated his professionalism and his willingness to engage respectfully. In public life, disagreement is inevitable, but mutual respect is a choice. Michael embodies that. He offers guidance without ego, support without hesitation, and wisdom shaped by decades of experience. That steady presence strengthens our council more than many people realise. Michael, I thank you for your 40 years of service, your openness, and your continued commitment. It is an extraordinary milestone and one that deserves recognition and congratulations. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cartwright. Councillor Gretzever, over to you.
Congratulations, Michael. I agree with Madam Mayor and other councillors. We are pleased and lucky to have you. And we are proud to have you, and you should be proud of everything what you're doing in terms of managing such a huge scale operations and 6 billion of portfolio and 700 of FTE plus 200 contractors. And I admire your higher standards of fairness. especially highly technical expertise you have and possess, and you such a humble, lovely person and caring leader. This is what I noticed for the short period of being at council. Congratulations and thank you very much for your service.
Thank you, councillors. I believe all councillors have now spoken. So I'll put the mayoral minute. All those in favour say aye. Those against, it's carried. Congratulations, Mr Edgar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
We
I had
bat
no
on.
idea. You've done a lot of homework
Madam Mayor.
here too.
It was very difficult to get anything past you.
Madam Mayor, I'm wondering if there's
Jackson.
an opportunity for the GM to have any
Move
words on the
suspending-
record.
Suspension of standing order to allow
Yes,
that to
please.
happen. Moved by councillor Jackson, moved by councillor Jetty. All those in favour say aye. All those against. Thank you, Mr Edgar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for your mayoral minute. I can't believe you've pulled this off and gone to where you've gone to, and I've not got wind
It was very difficult.
of it. So,
You're across everything in his
so
organisation.
I like to pride myself. I know everything in this joint, but obviously there's some that I don't. Look, I appreciate the recognition. I'm very humbled by it. I really appreciate the comments of each and every one of you, and I'm humbled, and I'm so. You say that you're lucky and you're proud to have me, but I'm lucky and I'm proud to have you, and I am lucky and proud to have the team that supports me, the staff, the executive, right the way through the organisation. Show terrific support. Obviously, you can't do this without some deep support from your family. And to be honest with you, 40 years ago when I walked into Blacktown Council as a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed young head on, old head on young shoulders, I had no idea where the career would take me beyond that initial step, and certainly had no idea that I could lead an organisation like this. So I'm very proud of where I've gone in my career. I've learnt a lot. Very well supported by yourselves, very well supported by the organisation, and as Chandy taught me this saying, so this is not quite an Edgarism, but I use it, best is yet to come. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Mr Edgar. Absolutely. Congratulations. Councillors, do I have a motion to resume standing orders? Moved by councillor Blue, second by councillor Jetty. All those in favour say aye. Those against? Carried. We continue. We now move to mayoral minute number 5/2026, Emergency Services Resourcing and Infrastructure for the Hills Shire. Councillors, the Hills Shire has long been recognised as one of the safest and most livable communities in our state. However, as one of the fastest growing regions, this rapid expansion brings significant responsibility. It is essential that planning for homes, roads and sporting fields is matched by robust planning for the emergency services that protect our residents. Community feedback consistently raises concerns regarding police visibility and response times, youth-related antisocial behaviour, domestic violence response pressures, road safety enforcement, ambulance response times in growth areas, emergency response capacity during extreme weather events. As our population expands further into the Northwest Corridor, particularly around Rouse Hill and Box Hill, it is crucial to assess whether existing emergency services infrastructure is adequate to meet both current and future demand. This includes police staffing and facilities, ambulance capacity and station locations, fire and rescue coverage, rural fire service capability in peri-urban areas, and state emergency services capability and capacity in storms and floods. Currently, the Hills has only one police station, 3 fire and rescue stations, and 1 ambulance stations. Thousands of new dwellings have been approved and delivered in recent years, with further growth anticipated. In addition to planned development, unanticipated growth is being driven by state government initiatives such as the low to mid-rise housing policy, the Bella Vista Kellyville Todd precincts, the Cherrybrook Metro precinct and the Housing Delivery Authority, undermining strategic planning with each fast-tracked approval. We know from speaking to local police that much of their time and resources are devoted to youth crime and domestic violence. Many of these offences are exacerbated by a mental health crisis which is spiralling due to a lack of local health resources such as a public hospital. I want to make it very clear that this mayoral minute is no way a criticism of serving emergency services personnel. We acknowledge the dedication of officers and personnel from the Hills Police Area Command, the critical work of New South Wales Ambulance, the roles of Fire and Rescue New South Wales, the Rural Fire Service and the Hills SES in protecting life and property. It is thanks to the hard work of these agencies that we continue to enjoy a safe community. However, it is very clear that existing officers are struggling to keep pace with rapid population growth and a lack of corresponding funding to support essential services. Over the past 20 years, our population has grown from 136,000 to around 220,000, a near doubling. Yet emergency services infrastructure has remained largely unchanged, now required to respond to incidents further afield and in areas increasingly affected by traffic congestion. With increased growth comes increased demand on emergency services, including policing, ambulance services, fire and rescue, and broader disaster response capabilities. A growing regional centre, such as Rouse Hill, warrants serious long-term planning for additional emergency services infrastructure and a new police station. How can the state and federal governments continue our population explosion without resourcing the fundamental services required to make the community safe? Some of the crimes we've seen play out across the city over recent years have been truly sickening, and over recent months it seems to have intensified. In addition to the worst terror attack in Australian history on the shores of Bondi Beach, Sydney has seen a rise in gang-related crime on a scale we've never thought possible in this country. Crimes are becoming increasingly brazen and reckless, innocent people are dying, and the Hills Shire is not immune. Only today did New South Wales Police discover the body of Chris Bagdasarian, an innocent 85-year-old grandfather from Ryde who was kidnapped, tortured and murdered in an apparent case of mistaken identity. It seems that his demise may have taken place at a home in Dural, which has put a strain on our local police resources. And Dural was also in the news last year with anti-Semitic caravan incident, which took a huge amount of Hills Police resources. This is not alarmist. It is responsible governance. Growth must be matched with essential services. If we want the Hills to remain one of the safest communities in New South Wales, we must advocate now, not wait for service shortfalls to intensify. Accordingly, I move that 1, this mirror minute be received. 2, Council acknowledges and thanks the dedication of officers and personnel from the Hills Police Area Command, New South Wales Ambulance, Fire and Rescue New South Wales, Rural Fire Services and the Hills SES. Council write to the New South Wales Minister for Police and Counter-Terrorism, the Minister for Health and the Minister for Emergency Services requesting an urgent review of emergency services resourcing in the Hills Shire and consideration of additional emergency services infrastructure within the North-West Growth Corridor, including a new police station at Rouse Hill. 4, Council work with the Hills Police Area Command to improve community safety where needed, including joint community engagement exercises. And 5, a copy of this mirror minute be provided to the local state members. Councillor Blue.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for bringing this important issue, which we've long been discussing here in the Hills, to the attention of the Chamber. Madam Mayor, you're quite right in saying that the unprecedented growth we're seeing across the Hills not only brings challenges for traffic, transport, schools, basic infrastructure, but what seems to be long neglected is the increase in requirement for emergency services, which is exactly been put forward here in your mayoral minute. When we look at, for example, when we look at more houses being put into the Hills, that's more work for the SES. When you look at more people, that's more residents, that's more requirement for, a greater requirement for policing. We hear time and time again from the Hills Police about the issues they're experiencing with our youth, and I'm very passionate about doing more in this space to address the youth crime, but we need to be ensuring that our police have the adequate resources to do so. We look at the Rural Fire Service, for example, and in 2 of our precinct area, our growth precinct areas, North Kellyville and Box Hill, those 2 areas are being looked after by the Rural Fire Service volunteers. And it's going to be approximately, from what we hear, it's going to be at least 10 years before we have another fire and rescue station here in the Hills. Madam Mayor, this is compounding time and time again. When we undertake our strategic planning here as a council, we look at all types of infrastructure. We look at transport, we look at the requirement on schools, we look at what infrastructure is going to be required for emergency services. We come up with something that's achievable and workable. But when we have a state government who comes in over the top time and time again, rezones areas like the Todd Precinct, Cherrybrook Metro Precinct, Housing Delivery Authority areas, low to mid-rise, and I'm not going to get into the merits or no lack of merit in any of those proposals, but you can't just come in over the top and bypass strategic planning and think that by just upzoning and providing more houses it solves the issues. We're creating areas here where these people won't be able to get out of their houses to travel for work, for school, for play. We're providing areas for residents who won't be able to access emergency services. The resources are drained and strained as they are now, and yet we've got a significant increase of population coming to the hills, and not one mention from the state government, not one mention about emergency services being increased. Madam Mayor, what I will talk about here is the new Rouse Hill Hospital. The Rouse Hill Hospital that's had more sod turning ceremonies than you can think about. And I just want to read something that was published by the, just bear with me for a second, that was published by a newsletter from, e-newsletter from Infrastructure New South Wales just last week. Planning and design for the new hospital continues to be guided by ongoing community feedback, helping to shape and inform the project. The State Significant Development application for main works construction was recently placed on exhibition and submissions are currently being assessed. This next stage of work is expected to begin later this year following planning approval. Madam Mayor, despite what Minister Scully and the Premier and all those that wish to take claim for the Rouse Hill Hospital, that we're starting construction, it's actually just early works, Madam Mayor. It's not the building of the hospital, because the building of the hospital hasn't even been approved yet. It's still in the planning approval pathway. So, Madam Mayor, we talk about this hospital coming. Fantastic that it's making some sort of progress, but it's still a long way off being built, despite what you read in the media of late. So, I welcome another sod turning ceremony and we actually get started on the project. Madam Mayor, this is a fantastic mayoral minute, and it needs to be shared widely, because this is something that is, we can all talk about traffic issues and we can all talk about amenity issues. They're all things that just are inconveniences to our lives here in the hills. But Madam Mayor, when you talk about emergency response and you talk about the resources for emergencies, the safety of our residents is simply not good enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blue. Any other speakers? Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There is one sentence in here that I think says everything. It is essential that planning for homes, roads and sporting fields is matched by robust planning for the emergency services that protect our residents. I think, Madam Mayor, there's been such a focus on the housing crisis and not really a realisation that that focus purely just on adding homes is creating an infrastructure crisis. And we all know that despite which government was in at the time in the state, there's a number of areas, especially Box Hill under CP15, has not got the infrastructure that it needs and has matched the growth that has occurred in that area. We've, at a number of community events that Councillor Blue and myself have been to, especially some of the progress associations, the feedback is that they don't care about the politics. Despite many opportunities to be able to explain particular situations that I and Councillor Blue no doubt has seen as reasonable, people are just really sick of the back and forth and just need it done. And I think, Madam Mayor, with this call through this mayoral minute to be able to sit down and have a reasonable discussion about the growth that's been forced on this area, I absolutely have always believed that we have been considerate about our housing targets and the housing crisis, and the Hill Shire has been consistent in pushing forward and being able to support the growth within the Sydney Basin. But we are absolutely at a point at the moment where we do have insufficient infrastructure, and it is impacting the general livelihoods of our residents in being able to, as said in here, the roads necessary for them to be able to get to their work or play, the sporting fields for their kids to be able to play on, but most of all the emergency services to be able to support and protect our residents in the hills. Constantly I stand up and talk about our emergency services because I'm so proud of what they do, especially those that volunteer within our community, and for some reason we seem to cop it pretty hard when it comes to storms. We've had floods out at the Hawkesbury that have created significant damage. We had someone pass away through driving through those floodwaters. We've had severe storms that have brought down trees. I was at a friend's place in Rouse Hill a number of years ago with hailstones that I had a reminder were about the size of my palm coming through her pergola and smashing things in her yard. In driving back home to Bella Vista at the time, seeing emergency services out and about, repairing roofs, fixing things within our community purely from a volunteer basis. And I think, Madam Mayor, the volunteering goes only so far. We talk about Box Hill and North Kellyville for volunteer RFS, supporting literal rural areas that are growing at such a significant rate that absolutely deserve the appropriate emergency services. And in my hope, be able to be provided at a particular time that we don't get a disaster because of the stretch that is being placed on those volunteers within those areas. Once again, I'm extremely proud of our volunteers, and like the community, I don't care whether it's Labor, Liberal, Greens or whoever it is that is able to deliver this for us. I hope that there is a constructive opportunity to be able to sit down as part of this motion with the different ministers and their departments and get an outcome that the Hills residents not only need but actually deserve because of the pressure that they've been carrying for many, many years now. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Any further speakers? Councillor Uno.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for this well thought out mayoral minute. Madam Mayor, it is incredibly disappointing that we have a state government that's focused not on emergency services, Madam Mayor, but on emergency spin. It's emergency spin, Madam Mayor, that is unfortunately all words, Madam Mayor, with no action. We've had a government that's now been in place in the state for some years now, Madam Mayor, that we've seen fundamental dramatic growth to the population in northwest Sydney. But all that we're getting, Madam Mayor, is social media posts. Posts like, Madam Mayor, that Councillor Cartwright has shared on her social media, Madam Mayor, such as from State Member Mr Kirby, Rouse Hill Hospital now under construction, and our federal member Michelle Rowland, Madam Mayor. Breaking, Rouse Hill Hospital now under construction. Madam Mayor, when you dig just a centimetre below the surface, Madam Mayor, being a state significant development that's currently being placed on exhibition and submissions that are currently being assessed, with the next stage of work being following a formal planning approval, Madam Mayor, that I will not describe as construction. Going through a DA process myself, Madam Mayor, I didn't post on Facebook or Instagram, hey, my new home is under construction, when it was still going through the planning process within council, Madam Mayor. I wouldn't have said that my home is under construction when the earthworks are happening. It's only once we start seeing the slab being laid, Madam Mayor, the bricks being laid, and the frames going up, that's when you can say things are under construction. It's unfortunately, Madam Mayor, we are always seen as just all talk and no action, no tangible action, Madam Mayor, from the federal and state government. And it is disappointing the fact that we are crying out that from in recent engagements with the local police, Madam Mayor, our emergency services are stretched incredibly thin. Across all emergency services, Madam Mayor, that we are, unfortunately, the recruitment of new emergency services personnel is incredibly difficult, that they aren't getting the resources that they need, and they aren't, I don't believe, getting the leadership from their departments to be able to appropriately support the residents of the Shire, Madam Mayor. Hopefully that your mayoral minute acts as a catalyst to finally get some action happening. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Uno. Any further speakers? Councillor Cartwright.
Madam Mayor, I can't agree with you more, actually, that I've always said that, just having one police station here in the Hills, 3 fire stations and 1 ambulance station, it's just absurd. For 12 years, and I reiterate time and time again, 12 years of the previous Liberal state government, the lack of foresight in just being so complacent in just maintaining just the one police station, 3 fire stations and 1 ambulance station. You know, again, they thought that there wasn't going to be a population explosion in the hills. So this is the result of a complacent previous Liberal government. So you can, I just find that you're criticising now that the Rouse Hill Hospital is still not, you know, it's still not in the current build. Well, have you passed by Commercial Road? There is action now happening. So it is actually, the build is starting to commence. So it's happening, and, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's going to finally happen. So those soft turnings weren't fake. It wasn't an act. It's finally starting to happen. Yeah, just what it is now, what we're faced with is complacency from the previous Liberal state government. So, and I commend Chris Minns. I find that he's just been in government for 2 years and 11 months, and I find that he's doing far more than the previous Liberal state leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cartwright. Any further speakers? Oh, now there's hands everywhere. Councillor Jodie and then Councillor Severaj.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, it is quite a fitting mayoral minute, especially when it comes to us as councillors upholding the values and also our responsibility towards our residents. I would not take names, but all I would understand is that this is the 3rd term of me being in council, and yes, the state and the federal leaderships have changed, the names have changed, but as a councillor, it is our responsibility to be answerable to our residents. And I remember fighting it out with the previous government for the same things, for getting the land for SAS head office in the hills, which we were promised and then backtracked by the change of the government in the state. Now we are nowhere close to that. That is the situation for the SAS, the people who actually come out and help when we are hit by the dire need and necessity. Day, night, midnight, flood, rains, you name it, Madam Mayor. Another point is, right now, when we are talking about local police station, we need more policing at our doorstep. Why? You have clearly evidenced and given scenarios and examples. What we do realize is that with a growing population, we need to change, and we need to change and work with our local police. Now, we all know that there's more surveillance needed, more presence needed, but where and how can that happen if we do not have more police? And that can only happen if they have another police station. Hillshire is not a shire anymore, which it was 10 or 20 years back. It has exploded with population. Box Hill is no more farms. You have so many houses, thousands and thousands of people living over there. So let's not kid ourselves. Let's not pass on the blame game. It is not the point of blaming this government or that government, or they didn't do it and we won't get it from this one. The point is that the state government's job is to facilitate the necessities for every local government area. And that is not being delivered in the hills. And that is the problem we are facing, and our residents should be aware of it. So when they have a question, we can actually point them directly to the state government. Hey, this is the contact person. This is the current government in power. Please go and ask them. Why do you not have the local school? Why do you not have a hospital? Why do you not have another police station? Why do you not have an SAS head office? Where will those people work and function for? So when the emergency services are needed, why is it that they don't have a place where they can call their office and have the works done from there? So that is as simple as that, Madam Mayor. And your mayoral minute is actually putting it on the record and saying, hey, The Hills Shire Council has been ignored, and this is not going to continue, and we will not take it on the chin by saying that, okay, we are your local representatives and we did not do nothing about it. So that is what the point is, Madam Mayor, and I again thank you for the mayoral minute and putting it on record and straight for our residents to be aware of who is not doing their job. And that is definitely not the councillors or the Hillshire Council. We are for them here. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Jetty. Councillor Severage and then Councillor Bonham.
Madam Mayor, rather than having a blame game, I suggest that we focus on lobbying for more infrastructure. We all know that there is an acute housing shortage, and the state government is actually responding to that. Now, we as a local council, I believe, have a much better idea of the infrastructure requirements, and I think it is our responsibility to therefore lobby and ensure that the right infrastructure in place, and that includes additional resourcing for emergency services. I fully support your mayoral minute, and I suggest that we continue, and Michael Edgar is aware that we have been lobbying for the pause at the Cherrybrook precinct, so additional infrastructure can be pinned down and well planned. So we'll continue to do that, and I suggest that continue to lobby for more infrastructure, knowing that only 40% of our revenue comes from rates. So we need to look for grants, and especially with this acute shortage, we need even more grants. Yeah, it is left up to us as the council and the councillors to actually continue to lobby and ensure the correct infrastructure is appropriate infrastructure is in place. And as we all know, the residents will look at the council as responsible, irrespective of the fact that it may be state or federal, just cause the issue. Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Severage. Councillor Bonham.
Very important mayoral minute here. And through you, I'd like to thank Councillor Cartwright for pointing out that this state government has been in office for almost 3 years, in which time they have done absolutely nothing to remediate the crisis that we have in emergency services, resourcing and infrastructure, let alone show us or give us any indication that they are having any forethought for the unreasonable population densities and growth that they're foisting on the Hillshire in the coming years. So I commend you on this mayoral minute. I fully support your motion to have the Minister for Police and Counter-Terrorism and the Minister for Health and the Minister for Emergency Services to review our crisis in the Hills, to consider additional emergency services infrastructure within the Northwest Growth Corridor, including a new police station at Rouse Hill. And Council work with the Hills Police Area Command to improve community safety where needed, including joint community engagement exercises. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bonham. Any further speakers?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Cox.
I'd just like to agree with a lot of what's been said, and I agree that over the 12 years the Liberals were in government, they didn't provide the police station, and it was probably needed 12 years ago, and more needed 11 years ago, and 10, 9, and it was needed in the first year of this Labor government more than any time when the Liberals were in power, and the second year, and in this third year. And all that we can cite is this hospital, which was being planned when the Libs were in power and was pretty much where it's up to right now. Doing a bit of site works while you're still getting planning approvals isn't really starting construction. It's doing construction for the announcement. It's not actually doing it. Like, surely it's more efficient to build a building once you've actually got a plan for it, not just send a few bulldozers around the side. I'd also note that since this change of government, funding has been removed for things like expanding New Line Road. But that was taken away from New Line Road and reallocated to a project. Oh no, it wasn't. It was just taken away. The SES, we spent the last term of council, and I believe the term before by other councillors, chasing the Libs for the commitment for the land for the SES station, and we were hammering them, and we didn't get anywhere, but we were chasing them, and there were some sites offered and things, but now we're basically being told, well, we know the government gave you a commitment, but we're a new government, so, you know, go away. They won't actually say it like that, but that's the message. And I don't think I think the previous government might have got themselves in gear if they realised how cynical the new government was going to be about things like this. The idea that they dishonour a commitment on this, on providing a bit of land, and I know land has a value, but the government has a lot of it. I agree with Councillor Selvaraj, we should be lobbying the state government. We have been. He helped with it, with getting the 20,000 signatures. Unfortunately, when the debate was put on, and in the videos that they've still got on their web pages, the ministers came out afterwards and said basically, well, the Libs were in power for 12 years, they didn't look after you then, so you're going to have to wait till next time. That is essentially the message if you boil it down. It's that this is a Liberal area and the Libs should look after it when they're in power because we won't. I hope they change their mind. I hope we can shame them, but yeah, this is something that certainly we need to do as much as we can. I don't hold out much hope, but I hope at least we're making the effort to do everything we can to get them to move.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Any further speakers? Councillor Grazeva.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just would like to say that I'm in support of this motion, very important motion. The safety of our residents should be as a first priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Grazeva. Any further speakers? There's only one left. No? I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. And it sounds like it was unanimous. It's a good night. 2 unanimous. Notice mayoral minutes is a good night. Councillors, any petitions this evening? No petitions. We now move to call the agenda. I'll read out each item one by one. If you wish to speak to a motion or vote against it, please flag it with me. Item 2, LTF recommendations, January 2026, Marlin Avenue, Borkham Hills, electric car vehicle charging space, Councillor Uno. Item 3, LTF recommendations, January 2026, Withers Road and Rosario Place intersection, Rouse Hill, traffic signals. Item 4, LTF recommendations, January 2026, Fishburn Crescent and Sexton Avenue, Castle Hill, proposed parking restrictions. Item 5, there's hands already, Councillor Bonham, LTF recommendations, January 2026, Horatio Avenue, Laura Street, Rosetta Crescent, Lucinda Avenue Norwest, proposed parking restrictions. Item 6, Hillshire Plan 2025/2026, review number 2 is Councillor Uno. Item 7, budget review as at 31st of December 2025. Item 8, budget review as at 31st of Jan. Oh, there's hands everywhere, Councillor Blue. Item 9, property dealings relating to development matters. Item 10, proposed land acquisition, lot 6 and 7, DP 1309308, being part of 103 and 105 to 107 Old Picktown Road, Box Hill. Item 11, proposed land acquisitions, lot 42, DP 1281242, Mason Road, Box Hill, part of former 8 Mason Road, Box Hill. Item 12, proposed acceptance of compensation for wastewater reticulation works on council land at 40 to 84 Nelson Road, Box Hill. Item 13, assignment of lease, shop 216, Castle Moor, 4 to 16, Terminus Street, Castle Hill, from Sushi Yo Proprietary Limited to Kisong Kim, TA Sushi Yo. Item 14, shop 103, Castle Moor, 4 to 6, Terminus Street, Castle Hill to Vision Corp Proprietary Limited, T-Sachet, Leverne Craft Bakery. Item 15, lease shop 116, Castle Moor, 4 to 16, Terminus Street, Castle Hill, Chuchar, Lee, TA, Quick Style Cuts. Item 16, tender T26-0075, Pages Wharf Road, Sackville North, Riverbank Stabilisation Stage 3 was Councillor Blue. Item 17, Councillor Jackson, information and status reports. Councillors, can I have a motion to move en bloc item 3, item 4, item 7, item 9, item 10, item 11, item 12, item 13, item 14, item 15 on Globo? Moved by Councillor Cox, second by Councillor Jetty. Is there any debate? No debate, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against, those motions are carried, and the recommendations in the report for those items now become the resolutions of this council. We now go back to item 2, LTF recommendation, January 2026, Milam Avenue, Borkham Hills, electric vehicle charging space. Councillor Uno, you have the call.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as stated in the business paper.
Thank you. Second by Councillor Cox. You wish to speak to your motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Look, this is just, I think, a reasonably straightforward request from council. I think the important thing is with this charging station, I guess we are moving into a new era, Madam Mayor. Gone are the days of new petrol stations being built throughout the Shire. We are moving to now EV locations and stations, especially as people move into more high-density living where charging stations become more difficult to charge their vehicles, Madam Mayor. I think that I do like about this location, the fact that it is a close distance to Waves, Madam Mayor, and also to AH Whaling Reserve, and also the fact that it appears to be not in front of anyone's front yard as well, so it shouldn't impact on the local residents as well, Madam Mayor. And it's good to see that no objections were received. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Uno. Any further speakers? Councillor Bonham.
I would like to vote against the motion, and I'll proceed to explain why. I appreciate the attention behind the option to accommodate electric vehicle charging stations and the shared goal of promoting sustainability and cleaner energy. However, I can't support any proposal that uses council land to encourage or expand the electric vehicle use at this time. My concern is not, may I reiterate, my concern is not with individuals who choose to buy an electric vehicle, but with what we as a council choose to publicly endorse. While phones and computers are near essential tools, electric vehicles remain an optional choice, one that depends on batteries demanding vastly more scarce and ethically troubling resources. Electric vehicle battery contains over 1,000 times more cobalt than a smartphone battery, much of it sourced through supply chains steeped in exploitation, child labour, slavery, forced labour, debt bondage and life-threatening conditions for workers. Beyond cobalt, other minerals essential for EV batteries are also linked to serious human rights abuses and environmental destruction. Mining often leaves behind poisoned water, displaced communities and long-term ecological damage. These are not distant problems, they're part of the true cost of our transition to new technologies. I want to be clear that I am a great proponent of ethical mining. Responsible resource development should play a role in a sustainable future. But until global supply chains can be verified as ethical, I can't support using public land to promote the expansion of electric vehicle infrastructure. Doing so would risk making us complicit in harm. Still, I believe the conversation has to start here, acknowledging where injustice persists so that we can take meaningful steps towards cleaner and fairer alternatives. This isn't an opposition to innovation, but a call to ensure our pursuit of sustainability also upholds justice, human dignity and ecological integrity. Sometimes true leadership means saying, not yet, even to ideas that appear green or progressive. Therefore, with respect for everybody involved, I will not support the recommendation until EV battery supply chains are proven to be free of abuse. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bonham. Any further speakers? Councillor Cox and Councillor Cartwright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to oddly rise to disagree with everyone, but still support the motion. I don't mind if people build more petrol stations, and I don't care if we're transitioning or if other people want to do things, but if people want to be able to charge their cars and a business thinks that there's a case for it and they're willing to pay us for the parking spot in an area where we're not really getting anything for it, then that's a win-win for the community and they can do their thing. So yeah, I'm supporting this, and not necessarily because it's new tech or sustainable or anything else, just because I think it's a good way to make some residents happy, let them charge their cars, and council will be able to use the money for providing things for the community.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Cartwright.
I think this is fantastic, having an additional electric station set up in the hills. We're in need for more, and I personally don't have an electric vehicle, but electric vehicles, it's the way of the future. It's, I believe that eventually all vehicles will be electric. So I just, I respect Councillor Bonham's view on child slavery, etc. But unfortunately, the world is changing, and the vehicles will eventually become electric. So I welcome this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cartwright. Any further speakers? Councillor Grazeva.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm in support of the motion. Yeah, the company was successful in receiving the grant for charging stations, so we're not discussing electric vehicles allowed or not allowed. The motion about to propose no parking except while charging. So yeah, I'm in support of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further speakers? No further speakers. Councillor Uno, you're right of reply.
Madam Mayor, I would like to waive that.
You're waiving that. We're on item 2, LTF recommendation, January 2026, Marlon Avenue, Baulkham Hills, electric vehicle charging space. We've got a motion moved by Councillor Uno, seconded by Councillor Cox, that recommendation contained in the report be adopted. All those in favour say aye. Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. We go to item 5. Councillor Blue will be leaving the room. So we'll wait till he exits. Item 5, LTF recommendations, January 2026, Horatio Avenue, Laura Street, Rosetta Crescent and Lucinda Avenue, Norwest, proposed parking restrictions. Councillor Bonham. Moving the recommendations printed in the business paper. Seconded all over the place. Councillor Jetty. Councillor Bonham, you wish to speak to your motion? Councillors, anyone wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Uno.
Madam Mayor, thank you for this motion tonight. I think it's a good change. I know that the residents will be happy with these changes. I did have a resident reach out to me this afternoon in relation to this matter. Is it maybe it's through questions raised through to the general manager, and I'm happy if you don't know the answer, take it on notice. With the development that's happening in that pocket, and that was probably the catalyst for these changes to parking. Do we know how much longer that the construction is going to be going on in those surrounding suburbs? Is it months or years?
There's a fair bit under construction, but it's fairly significant. Mr Mackenzie, do you have any thoughts as to time?
Through you, Madam Mayor, well, there's still vacant sites where very large development will commence, and that, so you're certainly looking at a couple of years in that precinct just on known developments. So no immediate end to issues caused by construction vehicles.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll pass on that feedback to the resident. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further speakers, councillors? No further speakers. Councillor Bonham, you right of reply. Waiving that, we've got a motion moved by Councillor Bonham and seconded by Councillor Jetty that the recommendation contained in the report for item 5 be adopted. All those in favour say aye. Those against, it's carried. Thank you, councillors. Can someone ask Councillor Blue to rejoin us, please? Thank you. We now move to item 6, Hillshire Plan 2025/26, review number 2. Councillor Uno.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as stated in the business paper.
Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Grazeva. Councillor Uno, you wish to speak to your motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I think I've stated this multiple times, but I think it's very appropriate for this item, Madam Mayor. Where it can be measured, it can be managed, Madam Mayor. I think, and as a chartered accountant, I stand by that statement. And with the time that I've been with the Hillshire Council, Madam Mayor, as a representative of the residents of East Ward, Madam Mayor, I've been continually impressed by the level of governance with both qualitative and quantitative measures, Madam Mayor, that really ensures that what we say that we're going to do, we follow through with. And I think what we see tonight, Madam Mayor, with the Hillshire Plan Review number 2 is a clear articulation of those measures and how we are going about actually achieving them. We don't just come up, Madam Mayor, with motherhood statements if we believe that we want to achieve something, and I just want us to bring the council's attention to strong financial management, building a better Hills, advocating for a fairer future, celebrating as a community, and obviously, Madam Mayor, looking ahead, that attention that we have, Madam Mayor, ensures that we hold ourselves to account and the staff to account to ensure that we are moving in a positive direction. But Madam Mayor, it's not all positives, but it's good that we look, Madam Mayor, and we stare that in the face, you know, and where we may not have achieved what we hope to achieve, that we clearly articulate that action is required, such as, Madam Mayor, I'm seeing that we haven't quite achieved the forecast visitation levels for our Waves Fitness and Aquatic Centre, but yet we know that is being used tremendously well, Madam Mayor. But the fact that we do have attention to that. One thing that did really strike me, Madam Mayor, when reviewing it, and I know that's something which I do mention at most council meetings, is the real focus that we have on our DAs. I've said this before in the chamber, Madam Mayor. When a resident engages council through the DA process, it's going to be probably the most intense interaction they're going to have with council staff probably in their life. And the fact that we're seeing, Madam Mayor, the gross number of days taken to determine a DA, the meeting numbers, our target was 70, Madam Mayor, and we're now at 67.5. That's a tremendous achievement. We're getting the responses faster to our residents, and we're getting these dwellings built faster, Madam Mayor, which is great for jobs and growth. Madam Mayor, it's really impressive the way that we do have a laser focus on ensuring that the amenity and the community is put at the forefront, Madam Mayor, of our growth into the future to ensure that we retain this beautiful shire that we have today. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Eno. Councillor Grazeva.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This agenda item, actually our quarter two review of Hills Shire Plan with reflection of recent budget review figures. In short, the majority of actions are on track. KPI across most services met or exceeded. One action has already been completed. Our financial position, as Councillor Oona said, remains strong and stable. There are no major budget concerns. So let's look at it through each strategic theme separately. So in rich lifestyle, strong progress, we are on track. We continue to invest significantly in park, recreation and community well-being. Residents are seeing real improvements. The BMX and Palm Track and Turon Avenue Reserve Balcombe Hills has been upgraded for safe all-weather use. BMX track renewal and Martin 9 Reserve Kellyville is progressing. Major works continue in Anthony Scarrett Reserve Box Hill, supporting one of our fastest growing communities. Sports lighting updates have been delivered or are underway at Yattenden Oval, Balcombe Hills, Annan Grove Park Reserve, Glenhaven Oval, Crestwood Reserve, Hill Sanctuary Reserve. Those energy-efficient light upgrades improve safety, extend playing hours, and reduce energy cost. Our library continues to perform strongly. Waves has seen membership growth over 20%. Council also distributed more than 158,000 in community grants to 25 local organizations. So second theme, connected people and places, on track. Council is delivering one of the largest capital work program, 241 capital work projects with revised capital budget 350 plus million. The key infrastructure highlights include completion of the Smalls Creek Cycleway Bridge connecting North Kellyville and Beaumont Hills, ongoing road upgrades across Box Hill, Glenorrey, Castle Hill and rural areas, Our annual roads resurfacing program is nearly halfway complete. New road safety works funded under grant funding received for Black Spot program in Box Hill. Environmental and sustainability on track. This half year we saw important progress in environmental planning and compliance as discussed on page 23. Executive team approved the climate risk adaptation action plan, outlining 28 actions over 5 years to prepare for extreme weather, bushfire, flooding, and heat risk. The biodiversity strategy is progressing with consultants shortlisted. Review of wastewater charges has identified 95,000 in annual savings, demonstrating financial and environmental responsibility. Community participation in sustainability initiatives remains strong, including garage sale, trail, chemical clean-out events. Theme number 3, leadership governance on track. Strong governance underpins everything we deliver. Financial position, forecast operating surplus with January variation proposed for almost 27 million. Projected cash and investment approximately 430 million, where the 30-40% of general income we allocate for asset renewal. Customer service, strong call wait time performance, efficient request handling, extensive community consultation across multiple projects. Organization capability reflected page 30. One Council digital transformation program is in design and in configuration. AI capability rollout has commenced, concluding Microsoft Copilot training. Leadership development and staff well-being initiatives are underway. So in summary, at the halfway mark of the year, services are performed strongly, infrastructure delivery is progressing, environment initiatives are advancing, financial management remains sound, governance remains transparent and responsible. Our commitment remains clear to be resilient, sustainable and thriving Hillshire for today and for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further speakers? No further speakers? Councillor Uno, your right of reply. Thank you. On item 6, Hillshire Plan 2025/26, review number 2, we've got a motion moved by Councillor Uno, second by Councillor Gretseva. Recommendation contained in the report be adopted. All those in favour say aye. Those against, it's carried. Thank you, councillors. We go down to item 8, budget review as at the 31st of January 2026. Councillor Blue, you've got the call.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as per the business paper.
The seconder, Councillor Gretseva. Councillor Blue.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, just briefly, I'd like to start by thanking Anish and her finance team just for the work that's gone into this. It's quite a detailed report, and there's some good information in here that's pertinent to what we do here as a council. Councillors, when I undertook the AICD course a couple of years ago, one of the key components was understanding finances, and that really shaped my learning in how to better read these reports, particularly the financial documents, and I think that's a really worthwhile thing to do for those councillors that may not have done it. Madam Mayor, look, I just want to point out a couple of things. Again, this council remains debt-free and has done now since 2002. We are delivering a significant capital works program this year, but drawing on my my learnings from the AICD course, I've picked out a couple of ratios here that I just want to make reference to. We are exceeding our unrestricted current ratio. Our benchmark is 1.5, we're at 3.96. The debt to service ratio, benchmark is anything greater than 2, we're at 105.3. The operating performance ratio, benchmark greater than 0 at 10.6. But the one that stands out to me, and it goes to show you just the cost of living pressures that are having on our community at the moment, is the rates, annual charges, interest and extra charges outstanding ratio, with a benchmark of 5, and we're at 6.22%. So it just does point out that our community are struggling out there, and some people are struggling to meet their payments to council through rates and other charges. So luckily we are in a strong financial position here in this council to weather that for a period of time. I just turn councillors' minds again to the issues at CP15. We note here in the report that the deficit of that plan 207 million at the 30th of June 2024. We're now well past that, so I'd hate to think what that figure now is. And interestingly, both Balmoral Road and the North Kellyville precinct both received their gap funding, but as we know, Box Hill was not successful in receiving all of that gap funding, and that deficit has now grown and continues to grow until the state step in and resolve that concern. But nonetheless, this council are moving ahead with projects in Box Hill, and we recently presented a number of those projects to the Box Hill Nelson Progress Association a couple of weeks ago. It's certainly not stop and wait, it's charge ahead, but there is a period of time where we are going to need to look at those projects and what priority they are delivered in. But until then, plenty is ticking along over in Box Hill. We've got the water lane under construction, delivering a few more playing fields for our community. Plenty of intersection upgrades, road upgrades. For those that haven't been to Box Hill in the last 6 months, it's certainly worth taking a drive, but take an up-to-date map because you will get lost. Thanks again to the finance team, a fantastic report, and once again this council's in a very healthy financial position. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blue. Any further speakers? Councillor Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As at 31st January 26, we are forecasting improved operational surplus, as we just discussed, 27 million, up from the original forecast 25 million. That increase is not accidental. It reflects careful financial management, strong investment performance, and our ongoing commitment to controlling recurrent expenditure while continue to invest in essential services. We are on track to deliver nearly 600 million in total expenditure this financial year, including 350 million capital work program. This means roads, parks, sporting fields, community buildings, drainage and public domain upgrades are being delivered at scale while we remain debt-free. One of the most pleased aspects of this review for me is success we have had in securing external funding. We have received 770,000 from Australian government Black Spot program to improve road safety in Balcombe Hills, including new roundabout at Balcombe Hills Road and Redmond Avenue and upgrades to pedestrian crossing. This is about safer streets, safer children and safer families. Other 1.4 million in special infrastructure contribution funding from NSW government for upgrade design of Terry Road and Box Hill. This funding allow us expand scope significantly, moving from limited works to comprehensive design, including traffic signals, broader studies and full corridor planning. 81,000 from Transport for NSW for open street program supporting community activation events such as upcoming Hills Luna Festival. 25,000 under NSW Local Heritage Grant Program assisting with the review of our heritage study and planning frameworks. Those grants are not just funding, they are strategic wins. They reduce pressure on our ratepayers, allow us accelerate infrastructure delivery and ensure our growing community receives services and facilities it deserves. I want to acknowledge our staff who worked tirelessly to secure this competitive funding. Every grant dollar secured is a dollar we do not need raised locally. I also want to acknowledge the importance of our voluntary planning agreements. This review notes an increase of 5.7 million monetary contribution from 7 Maitland Place Norwest VPA, as well as land dedication on the hills of Carmel VPA. VPA is an essential tool in fast-growing area like ours. They ensure that as development occurs, infrastructure and public benefits are delivered alongside and not years later. Those VPA are securing land for roads, drainage, infrastructure works, monetary contribution for community facilities. I thank the developers who have worked constructively with our council to deliver those outcomes. Those partnerships allow us align growth with infrastructure and maintain the quality of life our residents expect. Our projected cash and investment position remains strong, over 430 million, where only 45 million remains as unrestricted cash. In summary, January budget review reflects strong financial management, successful grant acquisition, effective developer partnership, growing capital work program, and sustainable financial position. I commend the responsible accounting officer and staff for their diligence, and I support the recommendation before us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further speakers? Councillor Uno.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I rise in support of this item before us today. You know, it just goes to the, as Councillor Blue and Councillor Gritseva has stated, it goes to the strong fiscal management that this council focuses on, Madam Mayor, to ensure that we watch the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves, Madam Mayor. But unfortunately, we aren't always in control of the pennies or the pounds, Madam Mayor. And that is evident by the GAP funding. The GAP funding in relation to CP15, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately, we are, as a council, are only in so much control that we are reliant on our state counterparts to pull their fair share, Madam Mayor. And disappointingly, this current government has fallen very well short of that, Madam Mayor. Well short of by $182 million, Madam Mayor. I want everyone to have that number settle in their minds. $182 million. What could that buy, Madam Mayor? Sporting fields, libraries, community centres, Madam Mayor. Wide digital roads, traffic light signals, Madam Mayor. But unfortunately, the residents of Box Hill are going without, Madam Mayor. The previous government, previous Liberal government, Madam Mayor, realised that there was an issue with this scheme. So they introduced the Local Infrastructure Growth Scheme, the LIGS, back in 2013. And that was a good scheme, Madam Mayor. It helped close the gap of those contribution plans all the way up until 2021, Madam Mayor, when we received all the GAP funding that related to contribution plan number 12, the Balmoral Road Release Area, and contribution plan 13, North Kellyville Precinct. But unfortunately, Madam Mayor, Box Hill residents have been left holding the bag. Unfortunately, when the state government changed, Madam Mayor, and the music stopped, the Box Hill residents were left without a seat, Madam Mayor. And they were unfortunately found to be wanting. Madam Mayor, we call on the state government to listen to the voices of those 20,000 residents that signed the Fight for Referra Hills Future, Madam Mayor, and to help close the gap, help support the residents of Box Hill, which is now, Madam Mayor, noted it is in the seat of Greenway, I believe, from a federal perspective. So there is a connection to the ALP, Madam Mayor, there. So I call on both state and federal members to be the voice for the residents of Box Hill and close the gap. Bring the amenity that all of us in other parts of the established Shire experience today. And don't let them, Madam Mayor, be left with a substandard experience in the Hill Shire. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Uno. Any further speakers? No further speakers. Councillor Blue, your right of reply.
I'll waive that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. On item 8, budget review as at 31st of January 2026. Got a motion moved by Councillor Blue and seconded by Councillor Gritseva that recommendation contained in the report be adopted. All those in favour say aye. Those against, it's carried. Thank you, councillors. We now go down to item 16, tender T26-0075, Pages Wharf Road, Sackville North, Riverbank Stabilisation Stage 3. Councillor Blue, you've got the call.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation as per the business plan.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Councillor Jackson, thank you. You wish to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just briefly, I'd like to take councillors back to early 2022 when the Hawkesbury River flooded for what has been one of 8 floods in the last 5 years. Madam Mayor, I drove down Pages Wharf Road and I was confronted with a pretty horrific scene. The road that I thought I was about to drive on was no longer there, and I nearly ended up in the river. It was probably at a time when they say you don't go driving into disaster zones, but as the local councillor, that's what I did. I wanted to go and see for myself what the situation was. And it was a time before our staff had been able to get out there and put up some barriers. But Madam Mayor, that was one of 3 areas one of 2 areas that failed in this area. 2 of those have been fixed, and one of them we are here tonight to deliberate on awarding the tender for the final area. Madam Mayor, this part of North Ward is very isolated, and there's really only 2 ways in, one being Chapel Hill Road and the other Pages Wharf Road. Chapel Hill Road has a significant $1.7 million rectification after the floods through a betterment grant, and this area is the other section which hasn't completely failed. It's on its way to failing, but under a betterment grant, we want to make sure we get this better and make sure that it withstands the next flood that is inevitably going to come at some point in time. Madam Mayor, you won't find someone more passionate about the environment and the Hawkesbury River than myself, and spending a lot of time on the Hawkesbury River, and even, I think I mentioned the last meeting, just after Christmas, I spent a day on a prawn trawler learning more about the ecosystems of the river and river erosion, and this was one particular area which was showing signs of erosion. So, councillors, I recommend that we proceed with this motion tonight to award the tender. It's going to make a big difference to the community in that area, and also shore up council's, no pun intended, but council's ability to keep this road up out of the river. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blue. Any further speakers? No further speakers? Got a motion moved by Councillor Blue, second by Councillor Jackson, that the recommendation contained in the report for item 16 be adopted. All those in favour say aye. Those against, it's carried. Thank you, councillors. We move to our final item for this evening, item 17, information and status reports. I acknowledge that Councillor Uno is leaving the chamber. Councillor Jackson, you've got the call.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the motion as per the business paper.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Second by Councillor Blue. Councillor Jackson, you wish to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor. There's a couple of items that I'll speak to and ask a number of questions on. Councillor Blue has already talked about the Hawkesbury River. On page 201, there was a Mayoral Minute in 2025 talking about the need for a better governance model for the Hawkesbury River. I know that there's some that say that we don't care about the environment, Madam Mayor, but the Hawkesbury River is dear to our shire. There has been a lot of talk, and over the many years, different structures in place to look at caring and supporting the longevity of the river, and also the activities that occur in the river. And I know that we had put forward a proposal to the LGNSW, but I just wanted to clarify here. It says letters have been drafted and sent to the New South Wales Premier and the subsequent Minister's Environment, Planning and Public Spaces requesting a meeting. Have we heard any feedback about that request?
Not at this stage, Madam Mayor.
Right. And just checking on progress of the status of the report. It says here targeted completion March 2026, being not too far away. Are we still on track to be able to meet that date for that report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, there's a report drafted for the March ordinary meeting.
Fantastic. I definitely am looking forward to options that this council can put forward to be able to support the river, the ecology of the river and the activities that occur on the river, and be able to hopefully propose a governance model that's supported by government to have some oversight of it that will be able to get the outcomes that we need. Madam Mayor, as I'm accustomed to do, I think if I do a bit of tag team with Councillor Blue. I won't say the page number for this one because it goes over many, but finishes on page 212. I'm definitely encouraged by the update here about the Hills SES. A working group with the SES Finance, Assets and Business Services business unit has been established with regular meetings scheduled to progress preliminary SES building designs. Is this, at this particular point, building designs and still not yet knowing about a particular location, or are we starting to kind of narrow in on a particular site?
Through you, Mr Edgar.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, part of the process is canvassing possible sites throughout the Shire that might be suitable. But certainly haven't closed the door to options that might come along our way in the corridor as promised as well, but looking at alternatives, plan Bs.
Would I be accurate in saying that the discussions around the building are making sure that it's suitable for the equipment that they currently have are here at the moment? There's some challenges around boat sizes and a few other things in their present location, and it'd be really nice to see that, you know, it being built, but also it being built for the purposes that they need.
Yeah, very much so. The whole idea of the engagement is to really understand what the operational needs of the SES will be now and into the future as well.
Yeah, great. On page 215, we have the notice of motion, Kenthurst Road and Ennengrove Road. I can see an update, Feb 2026, discussion with Hills Grammar will commence to explore solutions about entry and exit points. I know that Councillor Blue and myself, and I have no doubt Councillor Casby, receive a lot of feedback about the challenges, especially at the start and end of school, especially around that space with Hills Grammar. It indicates here a meeting was held with the Roads Minister to discuss the reclassification and the options of the bypass road. Are you able to shed any particular light on how that went?
Through you, Mr Edgar.
I can't, but I'm not sure. It might be something we could
Colbert?
take
Take
it
that one
on
on
notice
notice?
and give it.
Yeah, fantastic.
particulars.
I'm hoping that through that potential reclassification and an acknowledgement of the significance of that road, especially it being used to support, you know, not just the areas of Ennengrove, but also out to Box Hill and the Gables as well. I know a significant amount of residents use that to be able to get to different places. We were speaking to a resident last year who has had significant challenges in that particular space and has also been talking about bus options to be able to get around the challenges that many face in vehicles there. I really do hope that we can get to a meaningful solution. I think that's it for me, Madam Mayor, but just a final question. It says information and status reports. I'm just wondering if you know if it's that it's Councillor Cartwright's birthday today. It doesn't say it in the reports,
You've
but I
stolen
can
my
ask
thunder.
a
I was
question.
going to wish her a very happy birthday before we close the meeting. And I was going to ask you to sing happy birthday to her.
Oh, well, I don't think that would be a very good birthday present for Councillor Cartwright, but I know that we don't always agree on things, but I think it's good and reasonable to acknowledge particular milestones for different people as part of information for the community. So thank you for answering that question, which I'm allowed to do as part of these
I wish her
processes.
a happy
Madam Mayor.
birthday after we get to the end of this item, okay?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Any further speakers? Councillor Jodie.
Just a quick question on this one. And I'm happy for this question to be taken on notice through you, Madam Mayor, to the General Manager. It's still continuing with the notice of motion, Kenthurst Road and Annengrove Road. The point where it says October, then the Annengrove Road between Edwards Road and Kenthurst Road to be upgraded to a 4-lane road. I understand there was some discussion and thoughts to carry out a bit of a planning and research work on that one. Is that still somewhere under the way? And I'm happy for you to take it on notice, General Manager.
Through to you, Mr Edgar.
Yes, there's work underway, but I think probably a more at the right time that'll be presented to councillors for future consideration. Certainly, it's not lost on council, and there's a lot of related outstanding resolutions that have required us to engage with government, asking for updates and status on some of these projects, including that one.
Sure, that's all. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Blue.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and as Councillor Jackson said, we do like to tag team on a lot of these, so I agree wholeheartedly with all of his comments this evening. Just one I will single out is the Hawkesbury River governance model. And I just touched briefly on that before in the tender that we awarded for the stabilisation of the bank. But, Madam Mayor, what I don't think a lot of people, particularly here in the Hills, understand is that this river not only is just a body of water. It's where people from Sydney obtain their drinking water. It's relied heavily upon for farming communities. It's a place where our wastewater is let go, and it's a great source of recreation. And I think as a council, if we don't stand up and do something, no one else is going to. So I'm really keen to see this report come to council and see the start of our strong advocacy in this space. Because as I said, if we don't do it, no one else is going to do it for us. And do we want to see the Hawkesbury River like the Parramatta River became, where they had to spend billions of dollars cleaning that up after heavy industry was there for many, many years, and to the point where you can now swim in parts of the Parramatta River. But we've got a river now that is starting to fail. It's being really put under strain. What seems to be not continually put into perspective is that the increase in population here just in the hills alone, and I appreciate which is a very small part of the catchment, which extends from Goulburn all the way through to Brooklyn. But just the population increase in the hills has an impact on the Hawkesbury River. You've got more and more increase in hard space. You've got more and more runoff. You've got more and more waste being disposed into the Hawkesbury River through Cat-Eye Creek and other tributaries which lead there. So this river is doing a lot of things for a lot of people. If we don't get it right now, we're not going to have a river left, and it's what a shame that would be. So it's time we stand up, be heard, and let's get this rolling. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wu. Any further speakers? No further speakers? Councillor Jackson, you're right to reply.
Absolutely support all the comments that have been made so far, Madam Mayor. I just hope that when we talk about the Hawkesbury River again, Councillor Blue doesn't put wastewater and recreation in the same sentence, despite it being drinking water, despite it being used for many different activities. I think we have an opportunity at the moment to be able to do something. I do agree that it's starting to fail. And we have received significant amounts of feedback from different people that utilise the river for different purposes, and all of them have a desire for it to be as healthy as it possibly can for as long as possible. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. On item 17, information and status reports, got a motion moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Blue. The recommendation contained in the report be adopted. All those in favour say aye. Those against, that motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Can we ask Councillor Uno to rejoin us? And whilst we wait, can I take this opportunity to wish Councillor Cartwright a very, very happy birthday. I couldn't imagine anywhere else better to celebrate your birthday than here at the Hills Shire Council. But I do hope you've had a great day, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. You've still got 3 hours and 10 minutes to go and celebrate. And I notice Martin's here, your husband, and Caden as well. So there's still time to go and celebrate your birthday. But happy birthday from all of us here.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Councillor Cartwright. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip. Hooray! And on that note, we'll close the meeting. Meeting closed 8:51. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, council officers. Thank you, members of the public, for joining us this evening. Good night.